Module 3, Lesson 1, The Ancient Greeks. About 2,800 years ago, there lived a civilization of people called the Ancient Greeks. Today we call part of the area where this ancient civilization lived the country of Greece. Long ago, however, the ancient Greeks lived on a much larger area of land. The boundaries of ancient Greece spread widely to the east and west into many areas bordering on the Black Sea to the north, and across hundreds of islands in the Mediterranean and Aegean seas. Expeditions by land and by ship allowed the Greeks to travel as far west as present-day Britain and as far east as India. The ancient Greeks traveled to explore far-off lands, and also to trade, or buy and sell, goods with people from other areas. The ancient Greeks were similar to other ancient civilizations in some ways. They had writing systems, leaders and laws, religions, and different people to do different jobs. And all of these ancient civilizations, the Egyptians, Mesopotamians, Indians, Chinese, Maya, Inca, and Aztecs, and Greeks, discovered ways to design and build magnificent structures that can still be seen today. You will see pictures of some of these structures in another lesson. The ancient Greeks, however, were also different from other ancient civilizations in many important ways. Unlike the Egyptians and Mesopotamians, the Greeks did not develop around a great river, like the Nile in Egypt or the Tigris and Euphrates near Babylon. The Greek land was not as fertile as the land near those wide flooding rivers. Greece is a land of high, rugged mountains, and in many parts farming for the ancient Greeks was a struggle. You are going to hear about one type of hardy tree, however, that the ancient Greeks were able to grow in abundance. In addition to being farmers, some Greeks were also shepherds who took care of sheep on this rugged land. Some Greeks built harbors near the Black, Aegean, and Mediterranean seas, and many became expert sailors and fishermen, using boats like the one in this image. The largest island in the Mediterranean Sea was known, and still is known, today as Crete. Because they were surrounded by water, the ancient Greeks on the island of Crete became especially skilled seafarers, a name for people who earn a living by working at the sea, such as fishermen and sailors. The high Greek mountains also made a difference in the way ancient Greece was ruled. Because the mountains split Greece into lots of little valleys, it was very difficult to move from place to place. Many Greeks stayed in one place and married people from the same community. Each city and each valley became its own little nation, which we refer to today as city-states. Each city-state had its own government and its own laws, which controlled the surrounding area. All the Greek city-states shared the same language, although each city-state had different dialects or slightly different ways of speaking the language. Sometimes the Greeks had the same ideas of how to live their lives, but they did those things independently of one another. In fact, the ancient Greeks were highly competitive, and only in emergency would they work together. After each emergency, each city-state would go back to independently minding its own business. People in each city-state thought of themselves less as united Greeks and more as citizens of their particular city-state. The ancient Greeks looked at the world around them very differently from the way other people of their time looked at things. For example, you are going to hear the story of how one city-state decided not to have a king anymore. Not only was this different from what the other Greeks were doing, it was completely different from what the Mesopotamians and Egyptians had done before, and from what the Aztec, Inca, and other civilizations would do in the future. You will hear more about this later. For now, all I will say is that the Greeks had a unique way of seeing and thinking about things. We have a lot of exciting adventures ahead of us as we learn about the unique way the ancient Greeks lived and thought about things. and how their many contributions are part of our lives today.